Hey guys, it's me. Uh, didn't have a very good day today. I can't say it was a bad day, but COVID finally cracked me a little today. It started with I went to breakfast this morning and got in an argument with a friend. Acquaintance, I guess. He's trying to tell me that his wife, who's a nurse at our hospital, hasn't been vaccinated yet, which I know is not true because my sister works in a hospital in the same health district and she's in food services and had to be fully vaccinated. So his wife is an ER triage technician, another word for semi-retired nurse who doesn't necessarily poke needles, this or that. She kind of runs the show. Anyways, words were said, and I left the table, sat by myself. He finally called me back. Never apologized, but I took the high road. Said I was sorry for what I said, and what have you. So after breakfast, I head down to my physio appointment for the day. So, I've been doing my exercises and everything as per his orders. Consists of exercises every morning, every night, doing shoulder rotations throughout the day, just kind of meaningless exercises that do help. But anyways, 2 weeks ago, he said he was going to phone my surgeon about the fact that the ball socket is catching on my collarbone now and causes pain when that happens in my fingers, and if there's anything to fix it, so on and so forth. Anyways, he forgot. He said he doesn't remember discussing it. Well, I do. So for 45 minutes, instead of doing physio, we discussed if he was right or I was right. And then when there was a stalemate, we talked about hockey and COVID, and then told me to come back in another 2 weeks because he is going to phone my surgeon. Hopefully this time he remembers and actually does it. So I had an appointment for my therapist at 2. I had to come home and finish some paperwork that she wanted me to do, and it was to do with situations that I had been in the past and ways that I could have avoided the anxiety or the anger or the depression, and there's 10 different things a person can do to find a better way to solve problems and situations. So I was working on that, and my phone rang, and it was her office number, and she phoned and asked if she could postpone because she had a migraine and was going home sick. And I, of course, was very gracious and said I understand, and so on and so forth. And so she booked me for the same day as my doctor's appointment that I have coming up, and that was that. So I had to run some errands for my wife. I had to go run something to her mom and get some groceries. So at 1 o'clock, after my wife was done lunch, I jumped in the car and headed back into town. And I ran off to the mother-in-law's and dropped off the stuff that Shondell wanted. And I had a good chit-chat with her for a while, discussing, things that's going on with us and going on with Xavier and this and that. And we BS'd for about 45 minutes. And I said, well, my wife's running out of creamer, so I better get to Superstore and get the groceries and get home. So I left, and headed on over to Superstore. And by the way, I was not breaking any protocols because she lives alone. And our family is her one allowable family. She only comes and visits us, and then that enables us to go visit her. So by no means was I breaking any kind of rules. Anyways, I go to Superstore to buy the groceries. So it wasn't much needed. We needed some fruit and milk and creamer for the wife, like I said, and I decided to pick up some cashews. Well, anyways, I was running around doing my grocery shopping. I was heading down the dairy aisle, like is always at the very back of the store. And I'm coming down to the end of the dairy aisle and turning to go towards the tills to pay for my groceries and go home. And I noticed there's two women standing at the bakery department talking. They're not wearing masks. So I walked by, and my brain said, no, don't walk by. Don't do it. Stop. Turn around, go back, and talk to them. So I did. I turned around, I approached them, and I said, excuse me, where are your masks? I'm wearing mine. First lady says, oh, I have a medical exemption card. And the other one looks at me and says, I don't need to. So I asked the first one, can you please show me your exemption card so that, I won't bother you. And before she could even say anything, the other lady started screaming, well, not screaming, speaking loudly at the top of her lungs. Oh, Jesus, the Lord, praise thee be. I don't need no mask. And get this heathen Satan man out of my face. He's nothing but evil. And she started calling me derogatory things about Satan and said I was licking Satan's feet and all this stuff. I was like flabbergasted at these two women for doing it. So I said, I'm going to take some photos of you ladies just so I can make you famous. And I did. I popped photos of the two. Although the one that started preaching religion, she said, well, if you want to take a picture of me, I better show you my good side. And she started freaking turning around and wiggling her ass. And I said, oh, that's really Christian of you. And then when she turned back around, she put her hat that she had in front of her face, and I took the photo. And she started going on about me being Satan again and being evil and take off my darn mask and all this stuff. And I just yelled back at her. I said, take your goddamn religion and shove it where it doesn't need to be. You're nothing but a bunch of frickin' idiots. And I was mad. I was pissed off because here are two grown-ass women acting irresponsibly and not following official health protocols to keep other people safe. The province of Alberta right now is going through some of the worst conditions ever. In the province of Saskatchewan, we are not. We in Saskatchewan are doing things fairly reasonably. Anyways, suddenly, behind me, this lovely Superstore employee comes up and says, excuse me, sir, but could I please take you to customer service and quickly run you through with your groceries so that you can leave? And I said, no, I am not going to customer service. I am going to stand in line at a till and wait my turn. Thank you very much. That made me very angry. So I'm still yelling. I am watching at least 100 other people in this building stand and stare. All had masks on. Nobody said a peep. They just stared. Like I said, they were like puppets, mimes, I don't know. But there was nobody in that building that would back me up. Nobody agreed with me. Nobody applauded me. Nobody did nothing. So by this time, my anxiety inside of me is going strong. I am scared. I am embarrassed. I am stunned. I'm beyond myself. I can't believe what is happening. There is nobody that is condemning these two women for what's going on. And I turn around and I tell everybody they're nothing but a bunch of puppets. Because, where's everybody's voices? Where is anybody? So again, the lady says to me, "Excuse me, sir, but I really think you should come to customer service and pay for your groceries." And I said, "I am not leaving this lineup for these groceries. I am going to stand here wearing my mask like I am supposed to and pay for my groceries as a regular citizen." I turn around, and there's the manager. He looks at me, and he says, "If you do not quiet down right now, I will be forced to remove you from the store." And I turn around, and I go to say, "But what about," and he says, "Be quiet now." And I said, "No, what about those two? No, be quiet now." By this time, I understand what's going on. They're trying to get rid of me. They don't want a confrontation in their store. And I said, "Fine, but I don't understand why those two women are allowed to continue to be in this store and I am being treated like a madman. I have a right to be angry. I am at risk. Everybody else is at risk. And you're telling me to be quiet, get out of here, or else." He looked at me and he said, "It is their rights and their," I can't even remember what exactly he said. No, it's their rights and freedoms, and I can't do anything about it. And I said, "Excuse me, sir, you have a placard on the front of your store that says masks are mandatory and must be worn to enter. Why are you not enforcing that?" He looked at me one more time and he says, "Final warning, if you do not shut up and leave, I will make you leave." Meantime, there's a 20-year-old something girl at the till in front of me, and she starts freaking out about how dare I yell and make this noise, and I have PTSD, and I can't handle people yelling because it sets me off. I watched my father die. And I said, "Lady, I never got to say goodbye to my dad before he died. We all have issues. I have anxiety and depression. But that doesn't stop me." "Oh, I can't take this. I need to get out of here." So then two ladies come and help her pack her groceries and get her out. Meanwhile, the manager's standing behind me. So I happen to look over at the till next to me, and there's this old guy about 70 years old. And you know what he says to me? "Why don't you just fuck off?" You know what I said to him? "Why don't you put your mask over your nose like you're supposed to?" Next thing you know, 2 rows down, there's a cowboy-looking guy, early 30s maybe. He's got his mask on, wearing it properly. You know what he says? "Can you maybe keep it down a little bit? I got a baby in the cart." I said, "Don't you think there's a little bit more to worry about than me yelling? There's 2 unmasked women 55 feet away from us that could have COVID, and your baby's not wearing a mask." He just gives me a dirty look and turns away. So by this time, the ladies run my groceries through the till. I asked for 2 bags. Didn't have much to pack. And the manager says, "I hope you have a good day." And I said, "Oh, trust me, I will." And then the cashier suddenly says to me, well, you know, COVID's not real anyways. And I said, what? You're wearing a mask. Yeah, I have to. Otherwise, I can't keep my job. So that's part of the problem, world. We have people who knowingly and admit that they think COVID is not real, but they just put on masks because they have to keep their jobs. And then as soon as they leave their job, they don't care no more. So they're knowingly putting us at risk by their actions while they're not at work. So I'm kind of in a fog at that point. And the guy said, you know, have a good day. And I couldn't really remember what he said. All I remember saying to him is I said, I will be back here on Sunday with my wife, with my mask, buying groceries like a regular citizen. I turned around and I walked out of Superstore. My anxiety, my fear, embarrassment for yelling, you know, my emotions got high. For myself, nobody else was really yelling much, but I was angry. I was angry that the manager of my town's Superstore was more concerned about me yelling than people breaking protocol. So, I put the groceries in my wife's car. I couldn't drive. I was too high strung. So I sat on the back bumper of my wife's car and I tweeted. I tweeted 3 tweets in a row. I put the 2 women on Twitter to let everybody know, to see that they were in Superstore and did not have masks. And then I tried to find Superstore's, Great Canadian Superstore's Twitter handle, but searched and searched, couldn't find it. I have no idea what it is at the moment, but I told them what I thought. You know, I admitted that I was wrong for yelling, but I was mad. My temper. I have a temper. I always have. And actions of those around me made me fight. Not flight. I fought. I fought for what I believed in. I fought for my mother, my 11-year-old son, my wife, for me, and every other person on this planet that deserves their respect during this pandemic. So when I got my act together, I got in the car. I drove right to my city hall. I walked in there and I walked up to the desk and I asked the lady, I would like to make a complaint to the public health department. And she says, oh, what for? And I said, for non-compliance of health guidelines to do with COVID-19. Her eyes opened up a little bit and she says, let me find out what to do. She got on the horn. She found me the phone number for the Saskatchewan Health Authority. I thanked her very much. I turned around. I walked out. I sat down in my wife's car. I instantly phoned the phone number. As soon as I got put on hold, I put it on speakerphone or whatever you want to call it so I could drive. I drove a few blocks. Somebody answered from hold. I pulled over. I parked. And I started talking to the lady. She asked me why I was phoning, and I said I had to make a complaint for non-compliance. And I started to cry to a complete stranger on my cell phone in my wife's car. I had a breakdown. And she was the nicest stranger I have spoken to in a very long time. She was very happy to take my complaint. I gave her the information that was needed. I told her I have photos of the offending persons inside the store. Again, she told me several times how proud she was that I was being an upstanding citizen to try and stop this bullshit from going on in this country. So when we were done, she said that SHA will be in touch with me because they're going to want the photos to step up their investigation. And I said, that's good, because I'm not stopping there. I want to make sure that that manager gets fired for what he'd done. He is not manager material, because in my opinion, what he stated to me to my face was a personal opinion and not a business opinion. I am sure that the Galens do not believe that people's rights and freedoms are part of being able to shop unmasked. Secondly, I want that cashier fired, because if she's not following protocol, how do I know she's safe to be touching my groceries and putting them through the till? I have no idea. So when I got home tonight, I started searching for Real Canadian Superstore's customer service. Lo and behold, they make it nearly impossible for you to contact them. They ask you to use Facebook or Twitter. Sorry. Or else leave a comment there, right on their website. I'm not that dumb. I refused. So I went on Google and I typed in, how do you email Real Canadian Superstore? Thanks to Google. Oh, it's Loblaws. Loblaws.ca. So I copied the email address. I sent them an email. And I told them, this is the situation. This is what's going on. I want to talk to that man's boss about his actions that day. Or today, sorry. I said he was not looking out for the residents of Lloydminster. He was looking out for the bottom line of that store. And for that reason, I want him fired. I want him to pay the price for me standing in Superstore having an anxiety attack and an anger attack because I'm trying to defend the fact that those women should not have to be inside that store. And the fact that nobody else inside that store even said, way to go, bud. I agree. Those women need to go. Nothing. Nobody. Nobody had my back. Of course, now, on Twitter, as of tonight, I had one bad comment, which I unfollowed and blocked. Used to follow him. One of the hockey people. No more. I don't need opinions like that on my timeline. If you don't agree with me, I don't need to listen to you. Have I gotten any kudos yet? Not a one. Not a one. And it just so happens that earlier today I even commented on Twitter, like, does anybody even see my tweets, listen to my tweets? Does everybody mute me? Anyways, it's neither here nor there. So, I did not give him my first name. I gave him my last name because it's in my email address. We will see if I get a reply from Loblaws anytime soon. And I hope the Saskatchewan Health Authority does fine the Real Canadian Superstore for thinking about dollars over death, sickness, anything. Almighty dollar. I come home tonight after I got off that phone with that woman. I texted Shondell before I drove home. And I said, honey, I'm going to need a strong cup of coffee full of Baileys. I need it. I come home. She asked me what's wrong, and I cried for 20 minutes. I cried. I had never felt so alone for doing something that I feel is so right. This country is stupid.